Okay, so welcome back to week 5. I believe it's week 5 of reading you my poetry late at night. I'm already here. I have my tea, and I hope that you guys too are have a nice little blanket. If you've been following along these past couple of weeks, you know the gist. But for anyone who may or may not be new here, I read 3 poems that almost made it in my upcoming debut poetry book, but did not make it because whatever reason that there was, I just didn't like the poem, it didn't fit in the book, or it was just a crappy poem. But I go into the 3 poems and I decipher the meaning for you guys and say my writing process, my thought process, what I think of the piece, why it almost made it, why it didn't make it. I just basically say whatever comes up about the piece, and yeah. But I'm so excited to do this for you guys and dive in, and I hope you enjoy my little spooky look that I did today. I added my spiders, my little gold and green eyeshadow, and a little owl, and my little mood ring that a friend gave me. It's purple, which means that we're in a loving mood. So let's dive right into it. So the first poem I have for you guys tonight is a poem that I wrote about 2 years ago. I want to say I wrote it in December of 2018, and if it wasn't December, then it was pretty much November of 2018. But let me get right into it. Girl, remember to always put yourself first. Trust me when I say, only you know what is best. The strength to face your fears is deep in your core. It's clear as day. You've made it through all these past years. Be proud that you're here. Most times, the darkness consumes me, feeling like this is how it'll always be. If I'm being honest, I must confess that negativity and pessimism has been the greatest burden I carry. Always felt like it was necessary to guard my heart by keeping it closed. But I suppose playing it safe caused me more damage than I thought it would. You've always found a way to make it through. Even in the nights when you wanted to run away, there's only one thing I can tell you. Stop feeling so disconnected. Get your head out of the clouds. Hiding my insecurities and pain for so long, like a crab tucked in its shell, I haven't been doing well. Sometimes I think no one can tell. Most times I feel like I'm sinking. I try drinking away the demons so I can escape this hell. Feels like the easiest treatment. I want you to get better. That's why I'm writing you this letter, so it can save you in the nights when your soul feels like it's dying. I promise you that I'm being real when I say that everything will be okay. You can always work your way back to the top. Continue fighting. Don't slack off. I need to work on myself, block all lingering doubts, get out of my head. Days drag on, but I can't keep running away. One way or another, I have to face myself. I know that happiness is on the other side of the door. I just have to be brave enough to soar. The more and more I fight this war, my core will strengthen. If you're home, call me on the phone. Don't worry about being alone. I'll never be gone. I've shown you the light countless times. I'll always be right by your side. But really, this message is for everyone. Remember to take care of yourself. I'll always be there. You'll never be alone. This poem, oh my god, I feel so sentimental towards it. I wrote it in this time when I was having like a kind of a hard time. I had experienced 3 deaths in a row around this time from my family, and I was going through a very hard time. It was kind of a dark period, and I just isolated myself from everyone, which is what I tend to do whenever I get very much in this grief, sorrow, despair process. I disconnect myself from everyone and just do my own working. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just need to figure out what's going on with myself. And so I wrote this poem as 2 people talking to one another, where it was, well, not 2 people, but I wrote it as my light side and my dark side talking to one another, because I felt like they just needed to have this conversation, and it happened sooner than later. So I wrote it as my light side talking, and then the dark side, and then the light, like a conversation going back and forth, and just trying to figure out what was happening with me, because I had this very, very darkness in me that I felt, but I could feel that there was still light in me and that I still wanted to get better, but I just couldn't find it in me. So I wrote this as a conversation to myself, and honestly, after I wrote it, I felt so much better. I don't know why I didn't put this one for in the book. I just felt like people wouldn't get that it's broken up as a conversation. So that's why I didn't put it. And as well, I just felt like this was a very personal piece where a lot of, as weird as it sounds, the book that I'm publishing isn't as personal. Like, it isn't about my background, my history, or personal stuff that have gone on in my life. It kind of is, but I don't want to give it away. Ugh, I'm just gonna shut up. Okay, but it is not too personal like this. So that's the reason I didn't choose it. But I love this poem, and it's so different looking at it now, because I feel so different from when I did that. And I feel like I was in this cloud. Like, I couldn't see past it, and I was keeping myself back from like doing what I wanted to do, even though I could feel it in me and I could feel it like resting in my core. And now I just go out, and everything is so different. Like, I just feel like there's a line in here where I say that, get out of your head. And it's so true, because I feel like once I started taking in the world more and taking in like nature and just feeling connected to like the ocean and feeling connected to like the mountains and the wind and air and everything, I felt so much different. And it took so much time to get to where I am now, like a lot of months of just darkness and like despair, but it feels so beautiful. It feels so beautiful. And I went to the beach the other day, which I've been doing a lot this last month. I've been going to the beach a lot, because I don't know why, it's been calling me. And there's just something about going and seeing the sunset, and then I felt like running towards it. And just like meeting wherever it was that it led to. And it's just, there's something so beautiful about an open beach, and just seeing it all before you, and being able to feel free, and just be in the present moment. It was amazing. I loved it. But let me get into the second poem for today. If a rose's bloom isn't eternal, or a nightingale's sweet melody can't enter the gates of heaven, what's to say our souls are destined for divinity? What makes us any different than every other being in this world? Surely, even a smooth coursing river knows it carries paradise within itself. I love this piece once again. I don't know when I wrote this one, and I don't know why I didn't choose it for the book. I feel like this is a good poem, and I could have used it on there now that I'm looking at it, but I just feel like maybe it didn't somehow speak to me. I think it's the last line on it. But I love this one because I want to distinguish what it is that makes us humans different than like a flower, different than an animal. We're all alike. We all have a soul. So I want to understand what makes us so different from every other like pebble in nature, like a rock or the river or a flower or a bird or a cloud. Like, what makes us so different? If we can get into heaven, what's not to say that they can't either? So this is what came into my mind as I was writing this one. And I should have elaborated on it more now that I look back on it, because I know that I could have gone more in it, but I think I just wanted to keep it short and sweet, because it was a poem with 2 questions in it technically. And I try not to, back then at least, I try not to, whenever I made poems about asking questions or being curious, I didn't elaborate on them more, because I know that I could go on for days. And I do that now more with my current pieces, because I'm just, honestly, it's amazing and I don't go on for days anymore. But I really like this one. I should have chosen it for the book. I needed to work on the last line, because I say, surely even a smooth coursing river knows it carries paradise within itself. And I feel like that's where I messed up, because I wasn't, by saying surely, I'm not sure how the river feels. And that's me talking for something that's separate from me, for another soul in a sense, another essence. And I can't speak for that and give it the clarity and the voice that it needs without knowing myself. Sure, I don't want to speak for the river and then say something that does not apply to it. So I feel like that's why I didn't choose this one. But let's get into the last piece. I hope you guys are enjoying these, and that you have tea or something, or a blanket. But you can tell me in the comments what it is that you use while you watch these videos, because I'd like to know. As long as you're not doing anything disgusting, I would like to know. Okay, let me start with the third one. Don't you wish the moon could plunge itself into your soul, cast its light into the darkest crevices of your being, or that the sea could wrap itself around you, envelop and soothe the turbulent storms, rest your tired, tired spirit? Why is it hard to say that we all wish to be understood and loved? How do I write a poem that'll travel through all dust, find its way into the hearts of everyone who ever came before and after? The beauty of the world isn't only captured with the eye, but lives within all of us. And all I want is for you to find peace in all the changing seasons. Perhaps the swan, too, is an angel, ever graceful and majestic. For who's to say they don't fly right beside them? Who's to say they don't share the same soul, eons after eons? And who are angels but purity and innocence? Swans carry the beauty of all that is within this world and beyond, ever linked to the secrecy and meaning of all life than anyone else can ever be. I love this poem as well. I don't know why I didn't choose this one now. But this poem is part love poem and part curiosity poem and part heaven poem and part just nature poem. And I love it. I don't know why I didn't choose it. But I felt like when I wrote this one, I was writing it to someone that I had in mind. And it was just kind of like me speaking to them through the poem. And I just wanted to know, why is it so hard to say that we all wish to be understood and loved? I feel like we all struggle with it. Like, it's something that people are afraid nowadays to be vulnerable and to be honest. And it's just like, why? We all want the same thing. And I'll admit that I get that way sometimes too, where I'm just like, stoic face. But I'm more open about it now. And I feel like it's so hard to say because we're scared of being vulnerable. We're scared of getting hurt. We're scared of rejection. And all of these things just come in us. And I mean, it happens. We're human. There's nothing that we can really do about it but experience it. And I wanted to figure that out. Like, why is that it's so hard for us to admit these feelings, to feel them, and that we want to just keep them in silence and not share them with anyone. And then with writing about like how to write a poem that'll travel through all dust and time and space and reach everyone that ever came before and after. It's kind of like, I feel like when you're a poet, even after you're dead, your words are going to live on and someone else is going to read them, hopefully in the future generations to come, and they're going to see the world how you saw it in your perspective and how you felt and what you thought and everything that happened with you and you, just one person that was able to feel all of these feelings. And it is so precious. And it's just like, how do I write that poem that's going to reach someone generations from now when I won't be here, but my words are going to resonate with them and they're going to feel it and they're going to feel what I felt. And maybe they won't, maybe they'll just read it, but it'll feel so beautiful. That's how it is. Like when you write, you just want to be able to connect through all time and space and know that your words live forever and that someone is going to see them, someone is going to read them. And I love that. And I feel like that's in a way being immortal. I feel very much that way when I read Pablo Neruda, where his poems are timeless to me. And that's what I want to be. I want to be timeless. I want to be able to touch souls that haven't came on earth yet. And I think that's so beautiful. I feel like it's a far-fetched idea and a far-fetched dream to have, of course. But a girl can dream. A girl can dream. So that's why I wrote this one. And then I wrote the swan and angels because I very much love swans. That's one of my favorite birds. And it's actually a rare sighting to see one flying. I personally never have seen one flying, but I know it's a rare sight because they're usually just like in lakes, I believe it is, or ponds. I'm not sure. School me. That's what I was thinking for that one. And then angels, like I feel like swans and angels are just, they're the same thing. If they're flying, what's not to say they're flying beside angels? You know, you never know. We don't know what this world is capable of. It's crazy out there. But that is all my mumbo jumbo for tonight. And if anyone understands what I'm talking about when I make these videos, because I feel like I just ramble on about anything that comes up to me, and that's the point of these videos. I want to keep them authentic. I don't want to annotate my own poems and be like, this is the deep subtext in it and school and Poe and no. We're just gonna keep it real, and whatever comes up, and I'll just ramble along with it, because that's what my poems are. When I'm writing them, I'm just going and going and going and daydreaming and writing what it is I feel, writing what it is I think, and going with the flow. And I feel like that's writing in an essence, at least for me. That's what writing in an essence is for me. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, these poems today, and let me know if you enjoyed them in the comments. But if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any other future videos, and you can hang out with me late at night every Thursday when I share these videos, and we can have tea, we could chill, I'll read you poems, you can relax, and yeah, you get the gist. So have a good night.